We're doing it, folks. We're nearly there. The ending of Peter's season of The Bachelor is right around the corner with a 2-day finale next week. And as per usual, we were given a nice little promo to take us into the finale week and get us pumped up for how things are going to play out with Peter and his final 2 women. And in this preview, we're going to learn the question everyone has been wondering. Who is Barb talking about? Bring her home, Peter. But we'll get there. For now, as I always say, please no posting outright spoilers in the comment section below. Even though it's like, are there even spoilers at this point? Anyways, sleuthing is welcome, and if you haven't checked out the full preview yet, I'll be posting a link to that in the description, in case you want to watch it beforehand. Alright, hit it.
I am in probably one of the hardest situations I've ever been in my entire life.
So we once again are here with Peter in Australia, brooding over the decision he has ahead of him.
My heart is literally split between 2 women.
We're going to get quite a bit of footage early on that we've seen before, or rather have seen similar footage of before. The most important part of it all will be what everyone's wearing, because we're going to use that to lay out how the final 2 dates and meeting Peter's parents lines up. Significantly with this shot from a past preview where Peter says, "My heart is like so broken right now." This outfit is going to come back later and with much more detail attached to it.
I do love you. I do. I'm not afraid to say it, I'm not afraid to show it.
Alright, pausing here with Hannah Ann telling Peter she's in love with him, which is not important. Sorry, Hannah Ann. What will be is what the 2 of them are wearing. Again, this is all going to help outline how the next episode is structured. Seems small at the moment, but when all the little things add up, the picture becomes a lot clearer.
I see exactly what I have in front of me, and it's the most perfect woman. I just want you to know that I've always felt you there.
Oh, more kangaroos. This is going to be on Hannah Ann and Peter's final 2 date. Usually the final 2 episode, or at least part 1 of the 2-night event, goes like this. The final 2 meet the lead's family. Then the final 2 each have their last one-on-one date. So this will likely be after Hannah Ann has already met the Webbers.
There's no question that I'm in love with Hannah Ann. I could see it being me and her in the end.
Peter telling us he's in love with Hannah Ann and that he could see the 2 of them together, before we move on to some footage of Madison and Peter's final one-on-one date.
But I think it's obvious how badly I want to have Maddie in my life.
Now here's the payoff for watching what Peter was wearing earlier. As you can see, same outfit. Which naturally means that whatever goes down with Peter saying "my heart is so broken right now" is happening on his date with Madison. Makes sense considering how the season has been going, with Madison being so unsure about whether or not to go forward after what went down during Fantasy Suites.
Thinking about where we just came from to where we are now, and I think about how much I do love and care for you.
Well, that's nice. Obviously, Madison has to be feeling something if she decided to stick it out to the final 2 with Peter. But I wonder, could this shot be one of those photos taken just moments before disaster pics? Like she's saying, "I love you, but..." and then cut to Peter being so heartbroken.
I can't stop smiling, I'm sorry.
I could see myself loving him for the rest of my life.
Okay, pause. Another shot where we want to take note of Madison's outfit, different than what Madison's wearing on her final date. We'll see in a moment that this is going to be from Madison's day meeting Peter's family.
I don't know how I'm going to do this.
You know that we love you, bud, and we only want the best for you.
This shot here with Peter and his dad, it's going to be on Hannah Ann's day visiting the family. We can tell, one, because of what Peter's wearing here, and then again here, but also we'll see later the outfit Peter's dad is wearing with Madison, and it's not this. So Peter talking about "I don't know how I'm going to do this" is from the visit with Hannah Ann, though likely he's just talking about "I don't know how I'm going to pick someone" in general.
Do you see yourselves as being completely compatible?
Of course this is the soundbite they use here, as the whole question mark around Peter and Madison this season has been, do their relationship expectations line up? Also, here's Madison wearing the same outfit we saw before. Take note of Dad's outfit too, we'll mention it again later.
I have to tell you, I'm a little bit concerned because it's important to me never to change him and him never to change you.
And now it's Hannah Ann's turn for a grilling. Not that this is actually a grilling, but the music definitely makes it feel like it is. We also saw this outfit on Hannah Ann before in the preview.
I'm
just at my breaking point, honestly. I've given and I've given and I've given, and I just want something in return.
Alright, some pushback from Hannah Ann. So this is going to be at the night portion of their final one-on-one together.
Everything in me wants to hold back and just tap out.
Likely at this point, they are just a day or a few days away from the final rose ceremony. So the pressure will be high.
I feel like I'm hanging on by a thread.
Now here, we're back with Madison's visit to meet Peter's parents. By the way, this will all still be in Australia. They typically fly the family out to wherever they are. You can see Madison here brought some flowers for Barbara, or maybe Mr. Weber, who am I to judge? Now, since she hasn't given the flowers to Barbara yet, we can assume that whatever takes place here happens before she goes to meet the family. Meaning the how can we get through this talk isn't going to be about something that happens when Madison meets the family. More likely, it's simply this. My guess is that when Madison shows up for this day, it will be the first time she's seen Peter since the last rose ceremony. So she's likely still harboring hurt feelings and some uncertainty. And meeting the family is going to be stressful, especially in that state. So the talk here is likely coming from nerves. Nerves that Madison eventually pushes aside, as we obviously saw her talking with Peter's dad earlier in the preview.
Before you do what you're about to do, there's something I just found out.
Alright, okay, pausing because we've seen all this footage many times before. The Chris Harrison showing up to tell Peter a surprise at the final rose ceremony stuff, and then Peter lying down and being all frowny face. So we're just gonna jump ahead.
So sorry.
And here we're getting our first look at the woman Peter is apologizing to. We get a little bit of her head, which the producers are fine with showing us, as both of the final two are brunettes. But my gut is telling me this is Madison. Makes some sense in a few ways. When I first watched the preview, it made sense to me in this way. Who's most likely to be hurt or upset with Peter? Hannah Ann, do whatever you need to do to figure yourself out, sluss? Or Madison, I can't move forward, if you sleep with anyone, Pruitt. And of those two women, who's the one that Peter's been crying over all season? Speaking of Peter crying...
From the bottom, I'm so sorry.
Yep, a teary-eyed Peter after whatever goes down with the I'm so sorry moment, or possibly even before. Of note is that the house looks very Australian, and we can match it up with this shot. But this could also be back in the States. Doesn't take much to stage a room. I mean, just because I slap a Crocodile Dundee poster on my wall and go around saying, "G'day, Sheilas," doesn't mean my apartment is suddenly in Australia. Now, if it was back in the States, it would confirm that this takes place after the final rose ceremony, which would mean so many things. Could mean Peter's chasing after someone here, could mean Peter's dumping someone here, maybe his final pick before going after someone else. Your best conspiracy theory is as good as mine. Okay, but we have one last little bit of preview. Warning, it's Barb.
Don't let her go. Bring her home to us.
And there, the preview ends. So, let's dive into a couple of thoughts. First, how is next Monday's episode going to go down? Typically, the structure, as I said earlier, goes like this. Each person meets the lead's family, then they both have their last one-on-one before they head into the final rose ceremony. And this episode appears to be no different. I'd bet they leave us on the final rose ceremony cliffhanger on Monday to hook us into Tuesday's episode where we get to see the aftermath and eventual resolution of it all. Now, taking a look at that structure, it means that this "my heart is so broken" comment from Peter will be from after Madison has already met his family. So theories on what could go down to make Peter say this? Well, we know that whatever does happen, it likely doesn't end in a breakup. Otherwise, why would Peter even show up for his final rose ceremony? No point. Or say they do set up a final rose ceremony after Madison leaves. What would go down to cause Chris Harrison to come in and shock Peter? Maybe Hannah Ann also leaving? But that's not my prevailing theory. My guess is that whatever happens with Madison at their final one-on-one date is something that is bad enough to cause Peter a cry fest, but not bad enough to make Peter think there's no chance Madison shows up the next day. So one option? Madison still thinks Peter only slept with Victoria, and she finds out that Peter also slept with Hannah Ann. The reason I wonder this is because, if you remember in the last preview breakdown, we sleuthed out that Hannah Ann's morning after fantasy suite was cut out of the show for some reason. Here are the two of them in bed from a past preview that we never got to see in the final edit. Maybe they cut it out to get the viewers to think that, well, maybe Peter didn't sleep with Hannah Ann, and then boom, we find out he did, and Madison is hurt all over again, causing her to leave, or nearly leave. Peter then is so broken, and wondering once again if Madison will show up to the rose ceremony. Another option is if we get another Cassie's dad scenario, like with Colton's season, and Madison's family shows up to say they don't approve of Peter. Peter finds out, his heart is so broken, and he's wondering if that will ruin their relationship. And I'll also add this last option, that Peter and Madison's final date goes actually really well, and saying his heart is broken could simply be him being so torn on who he's going to pick and knowing that he has to break one of the women's hearts. Now, whatever goes down, it appears to be family meetings first, then the dates, then this drama, then the final rose drama. After that, Peter has this I'm so sorry moment, which I believe is with Madison, but if it wasn't Madison, I'd also buy a theory where Peter proposes to Hannah Ann after Madison doesn't show up, or just cancels the final rose ceremony altogether. Then here, he's telling Hannah Ann he's breaking it off, either after he proposed or after she finds out the rose ceremony was canceled, and that he's going back to Madison if she'll have him. Then we get the tea on whether or not Peter and Madison are together at the after the final rose, which could explain why Chris Harrison has said no one, not even Peter, knew the ending of the season. Now, this not even Peter comment could also be because this shot is of Peter showing up to wherever Madison is staying at to win her back, and Madison says, I need some time to make a decision on this. Thus, Peter still not knowing for some time how the season was going to end. I also want to confirm that the don't let her go moment happens before the final rose ceremony when Peter's parents meet Madison. In this preview, they don't show Mr. Weber in the shot, he's cut out. But in past previews, we get a much clearer picture of him, especially what he's wearing. If you remember, I asked you to take note of what Papa Weber was wearing when talking with Madison. Well, you'll notice it's the same outfit here. So this dramatic don't let her go moment is simply Barbara getting emotional over Peter finding his wife. Likely, since they met Madison very early on, I wouldn't be surprised if they think she could be the one, and that's why Barbara's getting all sorts of extra emotional. So it appears the producers just threw this in to make things look extra dramatic. As we know, nothing too damaging is going to take place when Peter's family meets Madison, as Madison still shows up happy as a lark to their final one-on-one afterwards. But hoo boy, there are a lot of theories and many of them could be true. All we can do to know for sure is to tune in next week. So that's it for this Bachelor preview breakdown for the finale of Peter's season. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on your theories down below. We're in the endgame now, folks. Just 2 more episodes to go next week. So until then, Bachelor Fantake, out.
I'm so sorry. From the bottom of my heart, I'm so sorry.